me and George, this is Kelly, and she is here, and we have the honor of, once again, talking to our friend Fred, a.k.a. Typhoon and Tugboat. How are you, Fred?
I'm doing good, man.
Good.
All right. It's good to hear from you again.
Talk to you guys again.
Thank you.
Still out there sucking up the rays in Florida, right?
Man, it's 86 degrees today. I'm in Panama City up in the Panhandle, Memorial Weekend. It's excellent.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I'm out here in California, and you wouldn't know it's California out here right now. It's raining and ugly.
Oh, my God.
I'm in Houston.
Yeah.
I'm in Houston. I woke up at 4:30 p.m. today.
Oh, what
come on.
Yeah.
I was up at 5 a.m., man.
Oh, my God.
So what a way to start my morning. I get to talk to Tugboat and Skelly.
Yeah. That's, you're my envy now because you get to talk to me. Oh, wait, no, Tugboat. Tugboat's the star. What am I talking about?
Oh, my God.
That's some, so you still doing the hotel circuit and the grand openings and all that?
Me?
Uh-huh. And nobody's going to come to a grand opening featuring us.
Oh, excellent, man. I'm doing a good job, man. I'm having fun and doing the deal.
That's good. You still going to some fan expos and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I'm coming up in, I think, what is it, the 22nd up in Massachusetts. We got a big one coming up, and man, I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Those things are great. I'm always glad when I see those things are still doing good business, because the fans get to see everybody and all the wrestlers get to, see how much they touched people, because you guys sacrificed a lot. It's good. I'm sure it's got to feel good to know that you touched people and they still remember you and appreciate what you did.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be awesome. I got Ox Baker's going to be there, man. I'm looking forward to seeing him and see if he's still got his nails painted.
Oh, Douglas? Yeah, I got to chat with him a couple times. He's a character. Real good guy.
Oh, my God, he's funny, man.
Yes, he is. He is hilarious. Talk to him about Kurt Russell. He's got some great stories about doing that escape from New York. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. He used to scare me when I was a kid. Those big bushy eyebrows and that mustache of his, he used to scare me when I was a kid.
I had my first cage match against him in Texas, man.
Oh,
just when I was green in the business, and talk about seeing somebody that scares you. I'm like, holy God, man. And then on top of that, my first cage match in Odessa, Texas. Oh, my God. He's like, don't worry about it, kid. You got nothing to worry about. So
that big gravelly voice of his. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that was when you were Big Bubba, correct?
No. Before that, I was Bubba, I was Bubba there, and then when I went to Memphis, it became Superstar Bubba.
Right. The fail-safe moniker, Superstar.
That's right, baby. And long psychedelic leotards, and I got to break a radio over the Rock's dad's head.
Over Rocky's?
Yes, Rocky Johnson's head.
Nice.
Did you ever meet The Rock?
I love them memories. Go ahead, George.
Did you ever meet The Rock when he was a kid?
Yeah, he was like 12 when he was there.
Oh, yeah.
Because he traveled on the road with his dad and his mom. Yeah, it was funny.
Do you watch his movies? I just saw Fast 6 last night, and it was excellent.
Man, I haven't got a chance to see the newer stuff that's out. Is the new one as good as it looks?
It is. It's probably the best Fast and Furious they've made out of the 6.
That's what I've been hearing too. I haven't seen it myself, but I've been hearing from everybody that it was the best one.
Yeah, and they're already doing a Fast 7 because the way the movie ended, you'll know there's a Fast 7. So.
That's awesome, man. And the thing is, he's such a hot ticket now. He's got the new TV show that's out. He's got he just did the Pain and Gain. I watched what was the other movie I watched for him? That was
it The Snitch?
One of the first ones of the year. Huh?
The Snitch, where his kid got in some trouble and he had to rat out some drug dealers?
Yes, that's an awesome movie, man.
Right, that was really good.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better roles. I mean, in the beginning, he was kind of getting those B-circuit movies, but ever since he did that, played the bad guy in the Get Smart movie, he's really been getting some quality roles.
I'm going to tell you what, the Walking Tall movie was pretty good.
Well, no, it was a good movie, but it was kind of, wasn't pushed, and it didn't do as good a business as I think they thought it was, and then he started, getting those more of the B movies. He did that Disney movie where he was a football player. Yeah, and then he did the Tooth Fairy. Yeah, but I noticed his career kicked up quite a bit after he did that Get Smart role. I think it kind of expanded his horizons a little bit.
Yeah, well, he's a real hot ticket now. He's going in so many directions. So, but God bless him, man. It's good. It's good. It's a fantastic and a shot for somebody in the wrestling business because not a lot of dramatic actors out there. You know what I'm saying?
Do you guys?
It is. He gets a lot of heat for abandoning, quote unquote, the industry, but he's making more money, better schedule, a lot easier on his body. I would have to think without a doubt.
But let me tell you, he's one of the first guys that outside of Cena that I've seen that stays in the light. In other words, that's a thing that Hogan made a lot of mistakes with in the past when he was doing a lot of that, trying to act, trying to go to that route, and you got to stay in the fans and the, just like actors are the same way. Mm-hmm. You have to stay current, or else they forget very fast.
Do you guys think his recent return to the WWE helped him out?
Oh, I definitely think it was an asset. It was great for the WWE as well as for helping him in the industry.
Right.
For you know what I'm saying?
I think the industry gained more. Yeah. Yeah. I think that it helped to keep him, like you said, relevant and current, and refresh the fans' memories of him. But I think more so he's doing fine with the movies. I think him coming back to the WWE helped the WWE more so than The Rock.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think you may have a point there. I mean, it definitely helped them because he's such a with all the hot stuff that was coming out. I don't believe everybody knew how many movies that he has coming down the road.
Oh,
and it's definitely. And then also on top of that, the little reality TV show and that stuff, and that's a great paycheck there if he could get more than one season out of it.
Yeah, he's a hot ticket. There's no question about that.
I love The Rock. He's my yeah.
What was it like working with his dad?
Huh?
Was his dad a good worker? Was he?
No, his dad was good. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a good guy. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And a good worker. And he's a very nice man.
Yeah, I'd never heard a bad word about him as far as like the boys from the locker room always seemed to really like him.
He was very personal, very, very nice. He was, like I said, really good. I had a lot of respect for him. He was been in the business and older than me. And I tried to be respectful to all the guys that when I came in the locker room. When I first got my break to go to WWF, I went up there and I walked through the grate, and here I am, the big clumsy ox. I about took down the whole drapes to separate. We were in Niagara Falls, I walked in there, and I was like in such a mark. Walking through initially into the locker room. That was to get my first dark match, so he could take a look at me, and I was like, oh my God, it's like the first time when I worked with Dusty Rhodes down in Florida. I mean, that's a guy that, and I got a chance to talk to him. This is a guy I was raised on in Florida. He was a legend in the state of Florida.
Oh yeah, he was the Hulk Hogan of Florida. He was real. I don't think the younger fans realize how big he was in Florida.
And how smart he is as far as business-wise. I mean, as far as angles and storylines and all that, he's very, very creative, He can be Mr. Grumpy Pants, but he's very, very creative.
Well, I think most people in the business, they're going to have their good days, their bad days, and they're going to, You know, they're going to be nice one minute and mean the next. It just, you know, it is what it is. It's a business.
Well, he took a lot of heat over the years because, you know, him being in several territories, be a booker also, so you catch a lot of heat and a lot of underlying, you know, a lot of jealousy and a lot of that stuff too. So I can understand that. I wasn't so aware when I was younger as to when I got around, and you know, there's some, you know, it's an ego business.
Well,
You know?
has there ever been a guy who's worked as a booker that hasn't taken heat?
I don't think as much as maybe him.
You know, I know Jules Strongbow was hated by several wrestlers for some of his booking decisions, you know, and loved by others. So, you know, I mean, it's and the same with Ole Anderson.
Yeah. I mean, you know, not like, I mean, you know what I'm saying, not, I don't know. I didn't, you know, work other than with Jules as a road agent, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, Jay, rather, I'm sorry, not Jules, but Jay. And, you know, he was just, you know, he was just Jay. He just had a certain kind of personality about him. He was actually kind of funny for being on the road. I remember him getting on to me one day because Sheik was with me, and we were in Arizona there for a few days because we had some TVs in Arizona. So we had some spot shows also. We went to one. We'd just flown in, and I had to drive for like 5-6 hours to get to the town we were at. And it was an outside baseball show. And on the way, Cheeky had a couple of cocktails and whatever. And by the time we got, you know, this is a guy that's, you know, old enough to be, you know, my father. You know, and I got confronted because, you know, he was a little buzzed. And what was funny was he's like, you know, she gave me some grief about it. Said, you know, it's not my job. You know, I have a lot of respect for everybody and what they do. And, you know, that's their business, you know what I'm saying? And I have no control. I can't control some of these actions or how they live it, you know what I'm saying, what they do.
No, he's a grown man. There's no way. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It made for a trick. He was always funny. I like Sheik a lot. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And he's a good guy. And it was just funny, though, that he kind of, Jay kind of called me on the carpet, you know, because he was a road agent there with Renee Calais. And, big man, you couldn't think I'm like, you know, hey, you know, I got me worried about it, you know? You know? And, he's in there, he's in a happy mood, and Sheiky is, and, he worked with Jake Snake. The first time he hit the ropes, he fell through the ropes. You know, and all the boys were out on the fence because they were taking guys out on the golf cart back and forth from the ring. And the ring floor on the ring was like 4 or 5 feet in the air. Right. And he slipped between the first time he hit the woo, you know, bingo, and he jumped up, you know, and it was just funny. It was funny. You know, and Jay Strongbow, you know, he just gave me, you know, a bunch of grief. I'm like, you know, hey, you know, it is what it is. I mean, they had a good, little match, but it was just funny. You know.
Tugboat, when you were U.S. Steel, you worked against Scott Hall. What was it like working with Scott Hall?
And Scott was excellent. You know, even when we were early in the business, I mean, Scott had been working a few more years than me, you know, but he was great to work with. I mean, good guy, nice guy, good heart, you know what I'm saying? And you know, good worker, you know, good looking guy. You know what I'm saying? We was also on Scott Hall. I mean, always was in shape, you know, and he good wrestling professional in the ring.
Did you watch the ESPN documentary they did on him about a year ago?
No, I heard a little bit about it. I heard it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's really sad, you know.
Yeah. Well,
you know, but unfortunately, when I look, I got a lot of memorabilia in my house and stuff like that. A lot of the guys that aren't with us no more, man.
Right.
Some cases, I was with them on the road and then going through all the stuff that they've gone through and everything like that. It's really kind of sad, really.
It is, yeah.
A lot of those guys were generals in the ring. They were just tremendous wrestlers. Sam the Kurt Hennigs, the Terry Von Erichs, David Von Erichs. I go down a list of guys that got a bunch of different posters on my wall, and I see all the guys that aren't with me anymore,
Well, yeah, I posted up a card, like one of the match flyers that, I got a collection of those, and somebody brought up, like, all the, like, 3 names on the card were gone. I mean, you had Kurt Hennig, Dino Bravo, Earthquake. You were on it. You were one of the guys, obviously, who wasn't deceased yet, but it was kind of staggering the amount of people that were listed on that were gone.
Well, it's funny you say that because I think a year or two ago or something like that. Last year, my wife goes, "Did you know you're dead, honey?" Oh no, I didn't. The internet is excellent, man. It's good for your ego. But yeah, I mean, it's sad, and guys that are gone. I mean, it's crazy. It's really crazy, and it's really sad.
Besides Earthquake, Tugboat, which other wrestling deaths have really affected you?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, Terry Von Erich was on the road with me for 10 days. We roomed together. We're in the gym together and everything. And he went home and he didn't come back. When I went back to work after a 3-day break, go back to work. Man, I got the news. They told all of us, that he committed suicide. I was like, oh my God. All he talked about was his daughter, and he's just a nice guy, and and everything, and to come back to work and and be gone. Joey Morella. I wrote. It was me, him, Harvey Whippleman, and Quick were riding together, and we doing TVs. And the last one was in Baltimore, and me and Quick were booked there, and so we went to the airport. They went there to do TV, and it's where Harvey was driving back and went to sleep, and they went off the road, and Joey was dead. It was either Joey or Joey was driving, or I forget. And Joey was living here in Tampa. Down here in Tampa, and he was, such a good guy, and know how to destroy Monsoon Gorilla, the son.
Yeah,
Dino Bravo, same thing. You hear that when you come back from, he went home, and here he is. They find him, asleep, and I think his kid was upstairs, asleep when all that happened.
No, fortunately, she was out with her mom at some dance or something. Yeah, but the wife came home, and she discovered him, fortunately, before his daughter Claudia found out. I mean, that still had to have been just absolutely horrible for his wife, and
Dino was surreal. Yeah, but I mean, it was, but I mean,
yeah, that's just surreal. I mean, it had to have been really weird for you guys, because I can remember when the news broke and I read it, and I'd only met him. It's not like I was a personal friend or a coworker of his. And just hearing something like that about somebody you know is just got to be just unreal.
Yeah, I mean, there's several bunches of guys like that, I mean, there you go, talking about Kurt, who was wonderful, and a legend as a worker, and, Rick Rude, another guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was horrible.
They died so young.
Randy, he loved his wife, he loved his wife, he loved his, his son, and, and Bruiser Brody, the same way. That's when I broke in. I mean, he was like, a real mentor as far as, giving me things and, putting my mind where it needed to be as far as future when I went to Japan. And, when I got the opportunity to go there, thinking, how I should work and what I should do. And, I was a big fan of his. And he was a tremendous athlete, a great guy, and,
Tugboat, were you close? Were you close to the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith?
A little bit. I mean, you're just on the road, yeah. On the road, yeah. Yeah, it was sad, with him, man,
Yeah, we've become friends with his daughter, Georgia Smith. She's on Facebook, and she follows our page, and so we always...
His son lives down here in Tampa, and I see him quite a few times. As a matter of fact, I've gone on a couple of trips with him up north, doing autographs and stuff.
Yeah.
And just a really, really good kid and a tremendous athlete.
Yeah, can you...
Shoot fighting. He was doing shoot fighting there for a while.
I can't believe the WWE let him go. You'd think he'd be a future star for them.
You never know, where you might wind up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They may be waiting for him to mature a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let me tell you, my biggest story is, my wife just told me to. I say it all the time, is I was with, several times on the road with British Bulldog. I mean, not British Bulldog, but Randy Savage. I remember when I was first breaking in there, I was riding with Dusty and everything like that. And he made it clear, he's like, remember this? There's only one thing in this business. The only guarantee is there are no guarantees.
No. You could have cut a mean Randy promo there, man.
Oh my God! Yeah. As a matter of fact, I talked with Lanny a couple times. We were up there doing the WrestleMania WrestleCon, and we flew up together and talked all the way up and talked all the way back, and even while we were there and everything, like different stories, And yeah, it was crazy, and really sad, and it really, when his brother died, it really hurt him a lot, and his mother, because, his dad had died just not long before he died, and his mom is just, Lanny has been a real rock for her, because, if it would have been different, I mean, to see your son go before you, it would have been devastating. I could only imagine.
Yeah, it's not the way it's supposed to happen. Yeah.
And but all the stories and the stuff that I remember that he brought up for the different trips that we went on, and just craziness and that, and it was a good thing. But I always tell it, especially the younger guys and stuff like that, to ask you questions and everything like that, and I try and answer as easy and best as possible at times, and you can't have all the answers, or, what I'm saying, this business is very, very good to me, and the 3 children I have, I owe all to this business, for them being born and being there, and being able to provide for them for quite a few years, and I'm like, but that always comes to me, I'm like, just remember this, kid, the only guarantee is there are no guarantees. 150% in this business, and also always good to remember, have something to fall back on, have some skills.
Man, that's some sound advice right there. Sadly, there's been a few people who put all their eggs in the wrestling basket, like they were never going to age or get injured.
Well, my son, he wants to wrestle and everything like that, and since he's been in high school, he's been helping around the WCW. I mean, not the Floor Championship Wrestling school down here. Was they gave him the opportunity, and when he turned 18, he went through wrestling school, and he's a tall, slim guy, and then he started wrestling with some of the other guys helping him, and training him and that, and he's a phenomenal referee. And he's been learning also. You know, I told him, it's just the biggest thing would be for you to learn television production. And they give you opportunities. He's been helping out, you know, like kind of stage manager deal and stuff, and you know, doing that. And he's learned a whole lot. And you know, the most thing I tell him, you know, is being humble, being hungry, and you know, and like doing, you know, but make, you know, the more stuff that you know, the more things that you can learn. Okay, it only behooves you. You know, it's like, well, that's why businesses nowadays have gone to cross-train guys. You know what I'm saying? So they have, you know, it makes you invaluable as somebody who's going to be around that business if you want to be around that business. But you got to have skills to fall back on. You know.
Tugboat, I wanted to get your opinion. We were talking about Randy Savage. How do you feel about him not being in the WWE Hall of Fame yet?
He should have been a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, the Hall of Fame, you know, I just don't understand how sometimes it's picked, or, you know, the whole deal and everything like that, you know. But, you know, like I said, it's not my call, or it's not anybody else. It's the powers that be, you know. You know, look how long it took for Bruno to be in there.
Right, right.
He was, talk about legend. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, when you look at the big picture, you know, but a lot of the guys have been put into there that, you know, if it was my call, I don't feel, you know, non-wrestling entities, and I know a lot of it's politics, you know.
You know, I view that WWE Hall of Fame as part prestigious and mostly marketing tool. I mean, a lot of it's who can we get here to make this a big event and sell tickets, as opposed to who should we honor, you know. I mean, there's plenty of guys that should already be in there, you know. I'm sure you could name off this list of guys that should be in there and probably never will get in there because they're not going to be a big marketing tool.
Well, people that, you know, I hear, when it's that time, you hear all this stuff, you know, and with the internet, you know, people, you know, they go like, you know, Typhoon, Tugboat, whatever, you know. You know, I believe in my heart that it would be a great honor and stuff like that to be even thought of to be put in there. Like, you know, when people mention it, I said, thank you very much, you know. There's a lot of guys like you know, that are out there that were phenomenal and are still phenomenal that aren't in there, you know what I'm saying? Right. I wanted to Arnold Strowman to be put into the hall, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, guys like that, guys that really study up on old school wrestling and stuff, with the guys that, you know, made this business, you know what I'm saying? Back, you know, back in the day, I mean, prior to cable, you know what I'm saying? When we had territories. Yeah, when you talk to older people, and they bring up, you know, guys like, you know, that only my grandfather would know, or this, you know, and it's kind of cool, you know, really, you know. There's still people around, you know, that bring up this one or that one, or, you know, from different areas. And you can kind of tell before you ask them what part of the country they're from by, you know, different characters that they watched.
Oh, yeah. The guy tells you that Paul Jones was one of the greatest champions ever. You know damn well he's from the Mid-Atlantic area.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Well, and I'll go on record right now and say about you being in the Hall of Fame, and I'll tell you, my personal feeling is your character was over and big enough that you definitely deserve it, but I've got this rule of thumb. If Coco Beware was good enough to be in there, most everybody from your generation that was over and main eventing, they definitely should be in there already because he was never a main event wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like a lot of guys were overlooked. You know, look how many years that there's guys out there that became superstars, but for years they were overlooked and, you know, were middle of the card or, you know, not main event for different companies. And then, I mean, and they got their break, you know. It turned out to be phenomenal, you know. I don't know. I mean, everybody, you know, that's why with wrestling, well, sometimes, though, like, there's a lot of guys that don't like, you know, you have different types of fan bases. You have guys that are, you know, hardcore heel fans. You got guys that are hardcore, you know, babyface fans. You know, and there might be somebody that only comes to the matches to watch a Coco Beware because there's something about him that they like. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
It does. Yeah. I mean, for example, I have a friend. He's actually a police officer, and he wants to talk to you later just to say hello. He's going to stop by to watch Monday Night Raw. And of all the wrestlers, his favorite is the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman had like a very short career, and I just don't get it. But like you said, certain wrestlers appeal to a certain fan, and I'm like, the Boogeyman? I'm like, all right, whatever. So
I met many a fan that when Hulk Hogan was hot, they couldn't take it. They didn't care for him at all. They see nothing, you know what I'm saying? You know, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It was, you know, guys, I mean, people just, you know, they love Rick Rude, or they love this one, they love that, you know what I'm saying?
you know what gets me?
I always like the heels.
Yeah.
You know, when I was at a match at Arco Arena once, these kids actually turned around and told me I was cheering for the wrong guy. And I was just laughed so hard. I was just like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what gets me, guys? You know what gets me? From 1988 to 1992, WWF business was huge, and the top three guys were Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and Ultimate Warrior. And can you believe we're 2013, and two of those three guys aren't even in the Hall of Fame that's been around since 1993?
Yep. Yep.
The story with Macho Man is supposedly they've tried to get him in the Hall of Fame, but ever since they inducted the Von Erichs as a family, he wants his brother Lanny and his father Angelo to be inducted as a threesome. And the WWE just isn't buying that. I guess they feel either Lanny or Macho Man's father isn't Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah. He was good. He was a big promoter for years, and a worker.
And Lanny was great too. He defeated Hulk Hogan on a Saturday night's main event, and he actually helped set up the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior feud on another Saturday night's main event. So I don't know. You'd think based on that he'd be Hall of Fame worthy as well.
There's a lot of good men that should be in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of good men. I mean, when you really come to think about it, and you think of all the guys that have worked, you know, and I'm sure a lot of their past, maybe, you know, and they're real big about, you know, covering a guy. Look at, oh my God, what? Can't think of his name. Got too few brain cells left in my head rolling around in there. But, I mean, there are guys that were phenomenal, that had something that blemished their before they finished, and never to be heard from or erased from the books. And I can name you several, you know, that it was that situation. But I mean,
well, Dino Bravo, I believe it probably has been overlooked because, you know, he had mob ties. Yeah, that's not squeaky clean image.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that have skeletons in their closet.
Oh yeah.
That's part of any. Well, you know, I mean, if there was a paparazzi for wrestling, surely would be a scary situation sometimes. You know, some of the things that have happened over the years in many a hotel in many a city. You know that you know, if somebody was to write a book, you know, and the thing is, I feel like, you know, my kids, and I've seen a lot of things over the years and witnessed a lot of things, but you know what? It's private and personal, and, you know, not my business. You know, and it's not anybody else's business either.
Right.
Some of the things that were out there. Everybody has skeletons in their closets, and everybody does things that maybe they should have did, you know?
That's the bad thing about the internet. A lot of people's personal problems have gone public. Like, I don't want to know about Scott Hall or Jake Roberts, what their problem is. I'd rather remember them for the performers they were and not, you know, the drama that's going in their lives. I think the internet's caused a lot of problems for a lot of people in the wrestling industry.
I tell you what, I mean, it's, Page is really done a lot, and with Jake, and you know, I'm glad because Jake's a good guy, and he's a nice guy, you know, and there may be a lot of people out there have other opinions, but that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know what, I've never met too many people that just didn't like or didn't care about. And you know what? I didn't worry myself if I didn't, because you know what? Unless it affects me or my personal life, I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's their cross to carry. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Right. And, you know, you only are bothered. You know, it's not my business, and I don't care, man. If you don't care enough to deal with your stuff, I mean, you know, why should I go out of my way to you know, berate you? It's not, you know, that you don't have must not have a lot or much going on if you're willing to go that far out of your way to take and rip somebody apart.
Right. I've actually heard you say that on another shoot interview, and if you remember the last time I interviewed you with Skelly, I actually complimented you about that. That you said if you're worried about what somebody else is doing, you must have nothing going on in your life. I thought that was perfectly said.
You know, I've done plenty of stuff in my life growing up. You know, that I wouldn't be utterly proud about. You know, but that's my business, man. And,
Yeah.
you know, I don't put my business on the street. Not too many people know where I came from and everything. I got great parents, that's all I know. I have a wonderful wife.
Mm-hmm.
I have great kids, and now I have, since I gotten remarried, and I got divorced and I got remarried, I've got 11 more tremendous children, and I got a great grandbaby on the way. You
Congratulations.
know?
Congratulations.
A great grandbaby. Oh, mama.
You know? Yeah, man, the TV must have been broken. I don't know.
Usually it's cold weather or broken TV.
That's it, exactly.
And Tugboat.
You know, and they're awesome. They're awesome, man, and I'm very proud of all of them.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of my wife, you know, who's been by me and is helping me, and you know, through all the stuff I've been through the last year and a half, 2 years, you know, with surgery and all this and that and everything like that, and getting my head where it needs to be instead of in my behind. You know, and I've got good friends. You know, friends that when I go on the road and I go to these different autograph fairs like that, the new kids that I meet, and then, you know, the guys I haven't seen forever. I mean, it's really awesome, man. I mean, you know, guys that pop on all the time on the Facebook, man, wanting to book me to work, man. I'm like, no, man, I don't work. You know, I do the autograph deals and stuff like that, personal care stuff and everything, but my body, and it's just, you know, I don't need to bring more science fiction to my life.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
I'm back in the gym now. I'm having fun. I see Luke all the time because, you know, the gym over on Clearwater Beach where I'm living now, because my wife runs a hotel over there, and I see, you know, Bruce in the morning sometimes.
Really?
Like Valentine once in a while. You know, it was nice seeing Hulk when I went to WrestleCon up in New York. That was phenomenal, man. And the fans, promoters from all over the world. I mean, there were wrestling there. There was referees from all over the years. There was managers. There was all the beautiful girls and everything. And the fans were phenomenal, man. I mean, it makes me feel good inside. You know, to know that people, that made that much of a difference when people come to see you and ask you to sign autographs or take pictures. It's just really cool, man.
Tugboat, do you think you could put in a good word for us? Maybe get us a few more shoot interviews?
Oh, man, I'd love to mention you guys, man.
Thank you.
You know? Have you talked to Luke at all, or no?
No, I actually messaged him on Facebook, and I'm sure he probably gets hundreds of messages, so he didn't get a chance to respond to me, but I would love to talk to Luke. I'm a huge Bushwhacker fan.
Yeah. My wife said to send him a text message about you guys.
Thanks. I still remember the match you guys
Very cool.
I still remember the match you guys had with the Bushwhackers at SummerSlam 91. That was a classic. It was like a comedy match, but yeah, you guys squashed them. Yeah.
Whoa, yay!
Yeah.
That had to have been awkward when they threw that gimmick on them, and I used to love showing people videos of Luke and Butch when they were the sheep herders to people who only knew them as the Bushwhackers?
Hey, I want you to know I talked to Luke about that about 2-3 weeks ago. I said, you know, and I was talking to somebody also. I said, you know, to have the most terrifying. I mean, they were terrifying, man.
Yes, they were.
When they were in Texas, they had the bloodiest barbed wire. Man, that's when Jonathan Boyd was their manager at that time too. He was a psycho. They were all nuts. So every night was a bloodbath. You know, and to turn them into that, it was just funny. You know,
yeah, I was stunned. Wow. I was stunned when I saw them come out and do that whole comedy routine. I was like, "You're kidding, right?" And then I was like, "Wow!" And they're crazy over too.
I love the Bushwhackers. Everybody would march their arms anytime they'd come out. Like 20,000 people, they would do the Bushwhacker routine.
Oh yeah.
My funniest memory of the Bushwhacker, I can't remember who it was, but during Royal Rumble, I believe '91, as soon as he marched in, Earthquake threw him out, and he marched back all the way. Y'all remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, you're talking about funny stuff. I'm saying this, no disrespect to the guys doing it, but how about Fandango?
Oh yeah, I like Fandango.
Oh my God.
I think the guy's great.
Yes, I want to be his dance partner.
I want to dance with the whip. I want to learn how to.
A couple of things with him. I don't really follow much of the newer stuff. I try, and every time I try, I just can't do it.
I was bewildered when I first seen the guy come out. I'm like, oh my God, what's this Dancing with the Stars, man, on TV? On wrestling.
I love that blonde he brings out with him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Tugboat, I wanted to ask you.
It's a sign that they're going to go back to larger than life type characters, you know, and kind of get.
That's what they need.
This bland. Yeah, the product just has been so bland over the years. It's like they're trying to make a theatrical UFC or something, and I'm just like, that's just not going to work because there's, you know, the UFC. You know, it's just, yeah. The characters are what's lacking. You know, I look at them, it's bad enough that the craft of ring psychology and working the matches like you were talking about with guys who really were generals in that ring and knew ring psychology. You had to work the crowd. You had to make anybody in that ring look good, whether it was a squash, whether they were jobbing, it didn't matter. They could make the match watchable and enjoyable.
Yeah. What they were lacking too for a while is also, like you say, characters that were truly characters, you know, recognizable, you know, individual characters, you know, that there were so many that were resembling each other, you know, saying same kind of look, same kind of this, same kind of that, you know, and I'd say, and they were missing tag teams, legitimate tag teams, you know, like you had them, you know, that worked together.
Yeah, those died in the Attitude Era. They just slowly were killing that off, and I always loved the tag team division. That was like one of the most exciting things about wrestling when I was growing up.
You know when the tag team division, the tag team division.
That they put together, and I think is really good tag team. It's Brothers Slay and the other guy that did the Punk Rock deal for it, and then they brought him back.
Chesney, or he was Albert. Yeah, his name's Albert.
I think those guys are going to be pretty good as a team. I don't know if you guys do.
I'm not crazy about the gimmick, but I think they definitely can be a good team. I think they're going to complement each other very well in the ring. Not sold on the gimmick, but you never know. Like we're talking the Bushwhackers, and I saw that gimmick, I was like, what? It turned out to be genius. You know, I mean, you just never know.
I like the fact that it's a crossover gimmick, but I think it'd be very easy for them to split them heel. The only thing I would see them have a problem with is the two girls that are put with Brothers Slay.
Right.
Right. And at some point, I would think it would be better to separate them because the thing is, a lot of times with women and stuff like that, and you know, it's like sometimes with managers, period, you don't have the right one in there, that, you know, they try and steal. You know what I'm saying? You lose track. They're pulling away, doing stuff outside the ring from the match itself.
The tag team division actually died in 1993. That's when they split up. Earthquake and Typhoon. The Legion of Doom had already left. The Nasty Boys left. There was like nobody left.
Yeah.
No, they just started throwing guys together. You know, that started with Owen and Yokozuna. They just started throwing guys together when they didn't have anything for them to do in the singles division. They just threw them together. No rhyme or reason. Didn't matter if they had chemistry or not. You know, that's what, to me, your heel turn to Typhoon, number one. I mean, it had to happen at some point for your character to grow, and it turned out to be great. You were really good as a heel, and then you guys were able to get over his faces. But the thing was, is you and John had just tremendous chemistry in there, and that doesn't just getting to like guys, powerhouses, high flyers. It doesn't always work. You know, you got to really have a good chemistry. You know, you got to be good coworkers, be on the same page, and I got that feeling from you guys right out of the gates.
What really was cool with John and me, you know, what I loved the most about it was you could actually, you know, the thing is, a lot of times in there, they don't talk and interact with each other. You know what I'm saying? Legitimately get that gimmick over as you two really do. You know, act out together and plan and do this and that. Let's do this. I mean, you know, to make it work, you know, and that's how it was. I mean, with them, we lived, you know, usually with my friend off the road as well as on the road. You know what I'm saying? When I was home, I've, you know, gone to theme parks and done things with them and, you know, go swimming and go to the gym together. I mean, you know, and legitimately, you know, and have conversations and interact, you know what I'm saying? And, which was kind of neat, you know?
Well, and that showed through with, you know, with your team. I mean, it looked like you guys were on the same page, and, I mean, you could feel the chemistry. You could feel teams that were meant to be and then forced teams. I mean, there were some great wrestlers that just were not a good fit together. I mean, the chemistry wasn't there. The believability of the tag team wasn't there.
You guys remember when they put Owen and Jim the Anvil Neidhart together and it just didn't click?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think so. And the thing is, that part is Owen was a good worker, man. He was good. He was good.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Two of the most infamous botches. One of them, you know, almost paralyzed the top star, and then, you know, of course, the botch that was not his fault, but, you know, cost him his life. And I think a lot of his work is overlooked, you know, for his brother. And I always actually thought he was a superior worker in a lot of ways.
He was over, you know, like when he first was in there. What was that gimmick he had? He was under the
Blue Blazer.
I mean, he was a great worker, good worker. I mean, like, not unlike a lot of the hard workers from their dad.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, he was kind of overshadowed by Brett, you know, by the media and some of that stuff pushed up so much. And he was a good talent, man, a great talent.
But the thing is, guys, Bret Hart helped him become a main eventer because prior to that, Owen Hart was losing to guys like Bastion Booger. And once he wrestled Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10, he was looked at in a completely different way.
They had a tremendous match.
Yeah, and he beat him, too.
That was one of their best matches, without a doubt, both guys.
Yeah, Bret put him over clean. That was nice.
Yeah.
Oh, he loved his brother. There's no doubt. I mean, Bret said a lot of things over the years, but there's no doubt he loved his brother and wanted his brother to succeed. I mean, there's just absolutely no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because of your size, did you find that a lot of guys that weren't quite as big as you worked a little extra stiff because of your size?
You know what? I never really noticed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's because you were mastered. They're probably working really good, and you're like some little guy.
If I got potato, you know, if it was something really legitimate, you know, I was always taught when Malenko booked me in, you know, the first time, you know, is on you. The second time, you give him a receipt. You know, you give him a receipt back. I never felt on very few occasions, other than maybe in Japan, you know, did I have to do something like that. You know, their style was a lot more snug. I really enjoyed working in Japan, even though, unless you're working with somebody like Penru or, you know, one of the older guys that had been around working in American style, you know. But with younger boys like that, you had to tend to be. But I was, when I first spoke in, like I said, these are things that were taught to me by, you know, I was told what to look for, told, you know, this and that, but not to ever take. I've never been a person to either take advantage of somebody too, you know. And I had a tooth kicked out of my head by Katao in Japan, and I gave him a receipt, and it was, sorry, you know. But when I stick my tooth out on me, you know, I gave him a look, grabbed him, you know, it was over. You know, but most of the time, most guys are business, you know what I'm saying? I've never had too many people that I know of that honestly, you know, because I was always a little side myself, because of being a big moose, but I never intentionally hurt somebody or anything like that. And I, especially when I was breaking in, I was a lot more compared to this stuff in Texas, new in the business, and guys had patience. But I had a lot of great teachers there. Jose Lothario, Chavo Guerrero, Hector Guerrero, Mondo, Black Gorman, you know, like I said before, Bruiser Brody, Scott Casey. We worked in San Antonio, you know.
There's an underrated guy right there. Scott Casey's another example of a guy that most modern fans have no idea how good of a wrestler he actually was.
I tell you who was great, one of the greatest big men in the business, you know, one-man gang.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Well, what's up with the Akeem? What's up with the Akeem character? He got squashed by the Big Boss Man in like 2 minutes, and then they had a blow-off match on TV.
Yeah, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
Like this, him and his wife, I hadn't seen for a long time when I was up in New York, and you know, it was so nice to see him. A big hug, man, his wife, a big hug. They are just so awesome, and he's such a great big man worker. You know, I remember watching him when he was working here in Florida for Ever Broken Business for a long time. And Sir Oliver Humperdinck handled him.
Right.
The manager. And he's phenomenal, man. He's a killer. You know, from Gordon to killer to Akeem, you know. Like you say, I'm like, oh my God. You know, but you know, he had a good manager also, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Reverend.
The Slickster, yeah.
Yeah, the Slickster.
During
It speaks a lot about one-man gang that he could make that Akeem gimmick even work. Because I mean, you think about it, it's kind of a ridiculously racist gimmick, and somehow made it work.
He had fun with it, man. So, the Slickster, I mean, you know, it's ridiculous as over the top as it is, you know what I'm saying? I thought, you know, wow, you know, he did have fun with it. And that's the thing with it, you know, when they asked me about, when they gave me the Tugboat Gimmick, you know, you're going to be able to do that, I'm like, you know, here I am, a, you know, 400-pound cartoon character in real life. Hey, man, I'm going to be the cross between Brutus, and Popeye's prodigy. The kid. Cross between the both. You know
what? You made it work. You made it work, you know?
I mean, look what they tried to do to Dusty Rhodes in 1989. They put him up polka dots. They had Sapphire dancing with him, and he made it work too.
Hey, baby, the son of a plumber, baby.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, the power, the man of the hour. too sweet to be sour baking.
That's when you know someone is very talented, when they're given a crappy gimmick and they still get over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I think Gang was a great example. Maybe it's not such a crappy gimmick. You just got to have fun with it. You got to believe in it. You got to sell yourself to the gimmick, or it's not going to work.
But guys, Akeem was on that huge Saturday night's main event where the Mega Powers broke up. So the Akeem character did get some fame. So.
Oh yeah, well, he was on the Arsenio Hall show.
Arsenio Hall, yeah.
Memorable.
It's just at the end. I don't know why they had him. Why they jobbed him out like that. Big Boss Man beat him in a squash twice, and that's it.
Well, some of those WrestleManias though, they were loading them just to get all the names on them, and a lot of those matches, were just wound up being squashes just because they only had like 2 to 3 minutes to work.
You're right. I was looking at the WrestleMania 6 card, and it's like every match averaged about maybe 5-6 minutes. And the only thing that was long on that match was.
By the time you get to the ring, how many months you're finished.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is what it is. They're trying to create the spectacle, and you load up a card, you got a time limit. Your main event's got you. That's selling the tickets. You can't be throwing Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior out there and have that go 2-3 minutes. People will riot.
Tugboat, I wanted to ask you, if you could put 5 people in the WWE Hall of Fame, only 5, who would it be? 5 guys that are not in yet.
Oh, man, that's an unfair question. I can't. There's just too many guys. I think everybody knows a game. No matter where they are on the card, or no matter what they are, I believe that they all, from their works, if there's such a thing as a Hall of Fame, all of them that put their time in, and all of them put their sweat, their tears, and their life into this business before millions of people all over the world, and you were on that TV for how long? It's not one thing if you're only there for a short period of time. But if you have, paid your dues, and especially in the inception, when all the guys that brought it to the WWF, when Vince, went to cable, were the best of the best from every territory. Yep. The country. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, you had guys working as jobbers who were big territorial guys at one time, like we were talking about Scott Casey, and I'm a firm believer there's some guys out there that worked as jobbers that should be in the Hall of Fame. They may not have had the glamour, but guys like Pete Doherty and Steve Lombardi, those guys went out there and worked their butts off, sometimes doing like 4 matches in one night.
Exactly. There's a lot of guys out there. I believe every guy that worked in that is a star, is a legend. I believe all of them, because all the people wouldn't come out and ask to sign, these autographs and stuff like that, or collect them memorabilia if you have a picture, whether it's you on your back getting pinned, or if it's you on the top getting, making it. You know what I'm saying? We all were a part of the card, we were part of this, part of that. You know what I'm saying? On videotape footage. Like I said, we're all did jobs, If you're a good heel, a great champion once told me, if you're a great heel, okay, the backs of your boots would be wore out. If you're a great babyface, the toes of your boots would be wore out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you're a good heel, you'll spend the majority of your career looking at the light. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be, the big payoff of the feud, this conquering hero and so forth. And, jobbing shouldn't be. You hear about, there's been some notorious people refusing to job and this and that. I always looked at guys like Blackjack Mulligan. He jobbed out there in Mid-Atlantic many times, clinging to baby faces to get him over, and yet he was still a huge draw, still got over everywhere he went.
Every guy I worked with that got me over, I always shook their hand, said thank you. You know what I'm saying? And to me, there's no such thing as a jobber. They're maybe considered an extra, or they may be considered, whatever they're considered. But, I don't believe that word applies, because for them to be there, they wouldn't be there. They were just a piece of crap. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There were some guys that have treated some of those guys as pieces of crap. You know, and I was always, and my partner was always very grateful. You know, because if it wasn't for them, you know what I'm saying? The old saying was, when they're breaking into the business, when you get good enough that you can have a match with a broom and make the broom look good, then you have the right to call yourself, you know, a great wrestler. You know what I'm saying?
They usually say that. Mm-hmm.
Everything is time to retire. Unfortunately, I retired a long time before that, because I consider myself, again, not a great wrestler. I felt that I was a decent, you know, and a lucky individual. I tried really, really hard. But I feel that there was guys out there that were a whole lot better than me, and I was just lucky enough to have the opportunity to work with them, and for them to help me to get over and look good, you know, and be a better wrestler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you could tell when you're watching your work. I mean, obviously, a guy your size wasn't going to be a high flyer, dropping elbows off the top rope and doing all those crazy, you know, flying head scissors and all that. But you could tell that Malenko taught you the craft, because your ring psychology was there, your pacing in the matches was there, your crowd interaction was there. And to me, that's what a good worker is. All the fake wrestling holds in the world can't get you over if you don't know how to get the fans to buy into your match. I mean, I'll just use it because the name's up there, like Dean Malenko. That guy could do any move in the book, but he could not continuously get over on a big-time level with the fans, because he just didn't have that it.
He didn't have the personality, kind of like Lance Storm.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Dean is a phenomenal worker.
Yeah, tremendous.
Tremendous guy. You know, and I mean, the guy, the stuff that he can do. Here again, you have somebody that wrestles a completely different style. You know, the man of 1,000 holds. That was his whole deal.
Right.
Because, you know, he knew it all, and still, you know, he still works for the WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
well, he was a ref for them at one time before he started wrestling too.
Him and both are. Matter of fact, his brother trained with Carl Gotch.
Wow, there's a
every morning. He would train every morning before he went to school. Then he would wrestle at school, and then come back after school and train with Carl Gotch. Okay.
Dang, what a teacher there.
Yeah.
Wow. And Boris I'm assuming Boris was a great teacher, because he knew all those holds, and he was quite a character in his day.
He was unbelievable. He could bring a house down by using 2 fingers.
Yep.
Just bring the house and make them erupt. I mean,
he had a real successful stint as going with Bill Eadie with his Mass Superstar gimmick, being his mouthpiece, and, you know, throwing cigars in the ring and whacking people when the rest. I mean, he turned out to be a great heel manager. I mean, he really put a lot into the industry. And then I didn't even know that he was training wrestlers until I spoke with you. That's, you know, I mean, that's a guy who should be in the Hall of Fame as well. I mean, there's a guy he trained a whole life for kids. Yeah. That's some crazy stuff. I mean, and that guy had some really great matches. I mean, the younger kids aren't going to know it, but I've seen a lot of his matches, and he was really a good worker, and he had the charisma and all that stuff too. I mean, he was a character, you know, and I think we all know that being a character will go a long way in the entertainment business, which, you know, it's an entertainment business. I mean, every sport is an entertainment business.
Yeah. He's phenomenal, man. He's phenomenal.
Did you ever get to work with Bill Eadie in our Demolition? I don't recall.
Oh, yeah. I worked with him several times, yeah. Him and Barry Garswell.
Yeah.
And even when they were with Crush. You know, there's another guy that's missing that was just a great guy. A good talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
and he was really good friends with Randy, wasn't he?
Who?
Brian Adams?
Brian Adams? Yeah.
Yeah, he was the bouncer for Randy Savage. Randy would do rap songs, and Crush would be his bouncer.
Oh my God, Crush used to do some incredible ribs on the road as far as making phone calls and disguising his voice as different guys. He was very, very funny. Oh yeah.
That's hilarious. That's what I when people are talking about what they wish they could see in the wrestling world. That's my big wish. If I could miss all the matches that I've seen and go on the road just to observe all the antics and shit. I figure you get bored on the road, and you're going to have to develop a sense of humor and stuff to do.
Yeah. Well, I've taught a lot of industrial and construction classes over the years when I got out of the business.
Right.
And I worked with, and workers in construction, steel workers, all different types of workers in construction are the same kind of guys that are wrestlers in the business. Kind of similar mentality, And, I teach all the time, and I would teach, and I'm like, you have to remember the biggest thing. I teach OSHA 10 and 30 awareness, and I teach mind safety and stuff, a variety of different topics. I'm like, you know what? You are at work with each other. When you talk about safety and this and that, you're at work with each other more than you're at home with your family and loved ones. So, and I tell them, like, there's a lot of guys in business, the same thing I tell my kids. There's a lot of people you'll find in life, and you have to go into the working world, get a job, and, if you're in construction or industry, you guys are putting in 10, 12, 14-hour days, working on shifts, working at nighttime, working in the daytime, doing dirty, nasty work, hot work. But, and it's hard sometimes. It's no guarantee you're going to find people that you like. It's not my position in life to decide who dies and who lives, and so you got to worry, it's just, that guy may only have a goldfish or a dog or a cat at home that likes him. Nobody else. But he has a right to go home to that poor cat or that dog, and be there for them,
Mm-hmm.
They'll see him, he's going to feed them, and they're happy to see him, He may be that miserable. The person may have a wife, children, kids, a girlfriend, their mom, their dad, whatever, man. Everybody has a right. It's not my right to, just like you're wrestling, there's going to be guys that you ain't going to like and you ain't going to get along with. You know what? You just kind of lead your life and do what you do, and you don't have to be stuck up there because of it, you know what I'm saying? To appreciate them. But, just try and get along. And that's the best you can do.
Tugboat, some of our loyal fans sent us a couple questions to ask you. And one of the questions I wanted to know as well is, how did the WWF contact you, and when did they contact you to come to the company?
I can't tell you the exact date. I was working in the Florida office here that they had restarted, and we did a big show here in Florida, and then Otto Vance was over scouting, and he invited me to come over and work with him. It was my first trip overseas to Graz, Austria. That's where Arnold Schwarzenegger is from. Mm-hmm. And I went over there for 10 days. He was the champion. I was going to wrestle him. And over there at that time, they wrestled 30 days at a time in the same building. Every night a sellout. And so when I finished there, I came back, and Steve Kern, Dusty, Mike Graham, and Gordon Soley pulled me in, and they said they had notified the office at WCW and WWF. They notified the office and they were interested in me. And they talked to me pros, cons, and what I felt. They didn't want to make any decision. They're not going to make a call as far as recommending or up to me who or where I want to try and go to. Because this was only an opportunity to go up and do tryouts. So me, my whole long-term goal was, oh man, go to WWF. You know, there's no disrespect to WCW, but you know, that's where I wanted to go, and the rest was history, man. It brought me up. Niagara Falls was my first dark match, and I had probably 4 or 5 more after that. You know, they videotaped and studied, and they had me up and everything. And then for 6 or 8 months after that, I was wrestling down in Florida as UF Steel, and or the Big Steel Man, and they took and worked me on the road as that gimmick for about 6 or 8 months, and then they finally called in the office and explained about this gimmick. Did they come up, you know, because everything's about merchandising, and it was the Tugboat Gimmick, and they said, would you be comfortable, and if you'd be all right? And I said, I'm comfortable with anything that you could possibly give me, because I'm going to give you 150%, because they can only give you that TV time, which I tell the young guys all the time, you know, that's to get you over. TV time is very, very expensive. When they talk about it in Super Bowl, when they're talking about, you know, what it costs for 30 seconds or 60 seconds of time on national television. Well,
yeah, it's an investment in your character. Yeah.
Yeah, every commercial break, those commercial people are paying big money to be on wrestling. That's what made Ted Turner go from a little one-station TV station to Turner Broadcasting. You know, right? That's why he always, even when WCW wasn't making good money, or they were in the red, kept him there because it was the highest grossing commercial time on his network, so he never forgot wrestling. He always took care of him. Many a time he would sit him, and when he was married to his ex-wife, okay, from the Vietnam.
Jane?
Yeah, Jane. They would sit in, come into the studio when they were doing TV, and they would sit in the audience and watch if they were there on premise. You know, that's, you know, kind of, you know, should give you a, you know, here's a man that's Kazan there, you know, and he started from a small station, but wrestling was one of the big strongholds that made him his money to go, you know, and invest it and, you know, make him grow the way he did, you know, so he always took care of, you know, wrestling on TV, you know, even though, you know, it's ups and downs.
Was it Vince McMahon? Was it Vince McMahon or Pat Patterson who came up with the Tugboat Gimmick?
Man, I don't know. They were the committee, you know, so I don't know. You know, they always work, and they still do, I think. They got writers and stuff like that, but
yeah,
they talk, you know, many guys sit in a room and they talk over, you know, and I even have used that in the years. I mean, you know, one head is only capable of doing so much. Like having multiple, you know, heads thinking about things and bringing them, you know what I'm saying, and looking at different angles in different ways and coming up with different suggestions. It even goes over, you know, that kind of mentality goes over into other businesses, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because one individual, you know, can't think as well as many individuals. Sometimes it may get chaotic, but you know what I'm saying, there's a lot more avenues there as far as thinking of different ideas and stuff, you know?
During 1989, on house shows, they had paired you up with Slick. Was the original idea to have you be a heel, Tugboat, or were you always going to be a babyface?
Who did they put what now?
In 1989, during house shows, they had paired you up with Slick as your manager. Were you originally going to be a heel?
No. I think it was just testing the waters.
I see.
You know, see how, you know, how it worked, I guess, with different people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would I need a manager? Or don't I need a manager? You know, fortunately, I think I could talk pretty good, but sometimes there's guys out there that talk and they put them with, you know, managers for other reasons. I don't know. I think it was a natural when they put Jimmy Hart with us. When I was tagging with Quake. You know,
Jimmy Yeah, Jimmy had good chemistry with John already, and it seemed to just trickle on over. That was a pretty good fit. And sometimes you didn't get that sense with managers and wrestlers.
What was kind of cool is, most of the time they put guys, managers, and the wrestler really never ever really gets a chance to take a talk. And give them, I mean, some guys aren't as good on my own, but I felt that what was good with working with Jenny is he would let us, interact with them and, give our opinions and stuff, no matter maybe little or much or whatever. Sometimes, what I'm saying, it's a few rudimentary things and your actions and your facial expressions and stuff like that. It drives the point home.
Rick Rude was one of those guys who I think never needed a manager, so I never understood why they put Bobby Heenan with him. And I think Rick Rude felt the same way, according to a shoot interview Bobby Heenan did many years ago.
Maybe. I mean, unless you're there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Rick, was awesome. He could talk good. He's a smart man. And aside from being a tremendous athlete, and he got a lot of heat just from his looks, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a good-looking guys that a lot of women in the audience, especially the ones with boyfriends or husbands, draw a lot of heat, extra heat from. And then there was a lot of husbands and boyfriends and whatever that liked him because of, how he was. He was a badass, and the fact, what I'm saying, that he was tough, and then the girls, he's like one of those guys throwing the girls throwing the panties at the kind of guy,
Okay, another question we had is, how did you get along with the top guys in 1990, such as Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, Brutus Beefcake, and Mr. Perfect?
They were great. They were good guys. I never had no problem. Like I said, I'm a lot of times, I joke around and kid around somewhere, but, sometimes I'm quiet. A lot of times, and with those guys up there, a lot of times you're listening, you know what I'm saying, and taking in, and, and seeing what's going on, and I tried to stay busy enough on the road that, I didn't get, idle hands of the devil's work, man.
Mm-hmm.
I have many years of experience at that part. I started getting in trouble. But, they were very nice to me and always very professional. There's guys that, kind of have attitude and stuff like that. I've made road trips with almost all the guys that you have mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
Even all in the Warrior and stuff like that, and he's a good guy, you know what I'm saying? And I think all of us have our moment, as far as being on the road, and maybe, the big joke always was in stressful situations, who's going to crack first? And depending on how long you've been on the road, that was a good fun game to play.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to crack? I remember being on stuck in an ice storm for 10 days. I came back with pneumonia. I'd been on the road for 10 days in Canada, and it was blizzard season. We went, I think, to Newfoundland, and we'd been, I think, in Halifax, and then drove up to we went to take a ferry somewhere to go to Newfoundland. And halfway across, we got caught in the ice. It wound up being like a 6 or 8 hour ordeal. So the other ferry had to come and break the ice away from us, so it's escaping it. But when you're on the road up there, I got snowed once, got snowed in another situation in Nevada, in a snowstorm, and in Reno. And 3 wrestlers, there was no hotel, blizzard, and we got the honeymoon suite with the heart-shaped bathtub. 3 days we were there.
That's just awesome. I can attest to the getting snowed into Reno. That's happened a couple of times, but I didn't have to bunk in the honeymoon suite with a bunch of 300-pound coworkers.
There you go, man. You know, when the guy goes to get a beer and comes back with, he started with 2 cases and drank one on the way back and came back with wet beer frozen. When he comes to the door looking like Frosty the Snowman. But, you know, stuff like that, stuff like that, when you talk about getting bored on the road, people watching, looking to see how, just to entertain myself, to see how people react and see how, what happens. Like I said, it's always who's going to crack first? How long is the tour? Where are we going on the tour, Or you go to TV, get a stack of tickets, and you're there you're there at noon, and you got a whole day until the show goes, and you're doing all kind of stuff. You're doing promos, you're doing picture shooting, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you're getting your tickets, and you're making your reservations for cars, you're making your hotel reservations, all that stuff, getting everything lined up, setting it up in your book, and it's just always, I've always, all through the years, how's the day? Just another day in paradise, man. Yeah, you can't cry with spilled milk. You can't worry about stuff. You just, make the best of it, man. It's like when you have problems in real life, if you have problems, nobody really cares if you have problems. So why look for sympathy from somebody, deal with it the best you can, and hopefully friends will help and give you support if you got any, or your loved ones, But nobody really, it sounds kind of grumpy or nasty, but really, they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I hope everything's better, But, you got to make the best of it, and you got to just kind of stay strong.
Yeah, it all falls into your own lap to fix your own problems. It always will.
Tugboat.
An old guy told me once, he says, you know what? The good Lord don't put anything on you can't deal with, man.
Right.
Maybe you had some days that are easier than others, but it'll all work out in the whole.
That's true. Yeah, I actually just heard that thing from somebody just this week. Somebody said that to me.
That's it, man. That's the whole deal. I mean, just have fun, man. And you gotta it's just like riding in any road in Brooklyn, New York. There's lots of potholes. Just gotta try and avoid them.
Tugboat, one question we get so many times, and I'll give you my opinion before I ask you. Fans want to know, why did you miss SummerSlam 90 since you were originally booked to be in Hulk Hogan's corner against Earthquake and Dino? And my opinion is Earthquake already had so much heat because he took Hulk Hogan out. So if he took out Hulk Hogan's best friend, Tugboat, that even puts more heat on Earthquake, which will result in more pay-per-view buys to see Hulk Hogan destroy Earthquake. Is that right, or was something else?
Yeah, that's probably as close to it as possibly you can get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's right about the time that I turned.
Right. Yeah, I mean, people are like, oh, he took Hulk Hogan out, and now he took out Tugboat, so now we got to pay to see Hulk Hogan put a stop to Earthquake, so.
Yeah, and they still protected John's character because he was one of the few guys that on the kiss-off match, he didn't go over him clean with the leg drop, he went over him by a count-out.
Uh-huh.
So they had big plans for John from the get-go, when he came out and he was Dino's sidekick there till he got over, and then he just went from Dino's sidekick to #1 heel, like, it seemed like overnight.
Oh, yeah, man. And, and to be honest with you, John really helped me, as far as being a better big man worker,
Yeah, it was amazing that guy could work as good as he could, being the size he was, because he didn't look really athletic. His movement didn't look athletic, but he certainly mastered how to use what he had, because I don't recall hearing about him injuring anybody or anything.
He was easy to work with. He was well, he wrestled at LSU. He was an Olympic wrestler for Canada. He was an alternate on the team because of something. I forgot what it was. Quake told me. Because he was, they had swapped him and replaced him as, the backup for their Olympic champion. He was Olympic champion up there. Okay, and then they swapped him out and used him as an alternate. But he wrestled, he went to sumo camp in Japan.
Right.
Okay. And he was undefeated. But he hated it. He hated being there. He didn't like it, because of the discipline and that stuff, because just the way it is, unless you know anything about it and how it's run, I mean, it's very, it's hard to explain. But anyway.
Well, it's like a lifestyle, right? Like 24-hour monitoring lifestyle.
The under guys are looking at the Yokozuna, who was the grand champion. Everything from bathing him, cleaning his house. The whole cooking food for him, and that stuff. They're up beforehand, early in the morning, depending on the level you're at, or, how it is. It's all scheduled. And, it's all, and the fact that he was Gaijin, which is a foreigner, I'm sure didn't help much. And then he left that, and he broke in pro wrestling over there with Shoei Baba. Okay? And he was, and Baba was, was two big companies, All Japan, New Japan.
Yeah.
Noki was the one company, and Shoei Baba the other company, and that's where he broke in. And he cared very much for John, and really tried to guide his life more than kind of John wanted sometimes, up and to the point of him telling him that he didn't think it was good for him to take him be with his future wife, who he finally married over there. That he didn't think that he should, it's a good route for him to go, and that,